drones and the Terran player is going to have with SCVs. And he's done nothing with his harassment. His Mulus fail. He was very careless in that he was just aggressively attacking with his Mulus against a group of Goliaths, which is the last thing you want to attack with Mulus unless you have, you know, a very large advantage in numbers, which he just doesn't. There were turrets. There was the bunker that was adding fire to that, so it was just a really poor attack. And now he's very far missed his opportunity. His window is closed. He's going to try to come in here and take out a couple of SCVs. He does get 2, but I mean, the window is just closed, and he doesn't have a lot of things going for him. He put up that tech really quick, which was more just reactionary thing, which even put his economy a little bit farther behind, actually, because he was building those buildings in the static defense. It turned out it was just an Evo chamber and a Hydra stent, so he did need that anyways, and it looks like his response is just to go kind of mass Hydras against this mech build, which Hydras are really good against Vultures and tanks. Ooh, man,
well,
big shot there.
my thoughts for Byhero, and I'm glad he heard me, was 2 words: switch tech. We have seen Zerg players try to continually pump out Mutalisk, which it looks like Byhero might actually still be doing. I don't know why he would do that, but that is really what you need to do. When you have a Terran that is this secure, you need to switch tech and just go for Mutalisk, go for Lurkers, go for something like that. But a ton of Goliaths are coming out here, and Goliaths can pop a front defense of Sunkens fairly well, and they are going to smartly go for this expansion up here. Now, if Kanata can get this away from Byhero and take this out, Byhero will still just be on 2 mining bases, and Kanata, at this point, could almost even go for a 3rd base if he wanted to. Now, he definitely doesn't need to do that, but I think he is so far ahead at this point, and Byhero is not. He is switching to Mutalisk, which is good. But I just think that Kanata might have this overall. Oh, nice job trying to kind of catch off guard. But
well, one thing that they showed is that Kanata did not have any comm stats at all. So that is a disadvantage of the fact that, you know, normally you have an academy when you go Medic Marine, so you get the comm set up quick. It almost looks like Kanata's forgotten about it. So if Byhero does make a switch, almost being careless and losing Hydras again there. If Byhero does make a switch to Lurkers, he will have a pretty big advantage if there's no scan, and additionally, even if he were to get a scanner up, he can't put down one in his natural expansion because of that stupid bunker that's now in the way. So that is one thing Byhero does have going for him, but it doesn't look like he knows it yet, that he doesn't have that comp set because he's not building any Lurkers. And honestly, against mech, you know, Lurkers aren't that great. You know, you're better off just doing what he's doing with it. You know, Hydra Muta is pretty good because Hydras can totally shut down the Vultures. It looks like +1 now up for the Hydras. And Mutalisk, in the meantime, if any tanks come out, can stop the tanks. But there's so many Goliaths that, like you said, it almost seems like he should just cease with the Muta building because they're not going to do that much. But the goal is, you know, to send both forces at him at once. And if you can catch the Goliath shooting at the Hydras, you know, they get confused. And, you know, Muta-Hydra combination is pretty good against mech. It looks like Byhero is just going to go in here and scatter on with his... Man, just poor micro so far by Byhero. He's taking so much extra damage, you know, compared to a player with better micro. And it looks like he's finally getting another hatchery up, but his hatchery, I'm surprised his hatchery hasn't even gone down up there. We're going to see Hydras versus Goliaths, more Goliaths on the ground for Kanata, so Kanata is going to have a more powerful army. And Kanata is just going for the throat here, going for the Katane. I think he should be going for that base up the top right. It looks like he is going to go for that base. He spotted that base a long time ago with his mines. He spotted the drone transfer, so he's known about that base for a really long time. Now taking out some overlords, there's nothing to defend that base. I mean, Byhero just not looking good this entire OSL, not looking good this game. It looks like he is going to take down those mines, but that's not even a big enough force, I don't think. I mean, he does have a Muta advantage. He's got Mutas and Hydras, so maybe that'll be enough. Kanata is going to be careful to be on the high ground instead of being on the low ground. It looks like here comes the big battle. Quite a few Mutas going in. Mutas are going to get slaughtered by those Charn upgraded Goliaths, and he didn't bring his Hydras in quite quick enough. Now, finally, both forces are together, but I think so many Mutas have been taken out. Once those Mutas are gone, it's going to be Goliaths versus Hydras. It looks like Byhero may come on top, but not by very much. He's lost a lot of forces. He's just desperately trying to hold on to his expansion.
Well, what Byhero waited is he waited for the +1 Carapace on the Mutalisk to go in, which is really smart, and that is what saved him there. If he did not have the +1, then he would have lost that battle, but he manages to... was that expansion saved? I couldn't see if it was or not. The reason it was saved. That's good. So Byhero still can mine from there. The problem with this, and this is the smart expansion placement by Byhero, is that Kanata can't go anywhere. You notice he keeps going back and forth. He can't decide on where to go because if he leaves his base like this, then he's so prone to a counterattack. Now he is going to try to go up and try to finish it off, but look at that. There's a nice group of Hydralisks that are going to come and try to fend this off. Obviously, Goliath, I was going to call them gorillas. Goliaths are pretty good at popping Hydralisk, but with the Hydralisk army, there's +1 attack. Nice surround, but then also surrounding the surround with Goliaths and Vultures coming up from the bottom. By-Hero takes a gulp, man. He is losing units very quickly. Good job mining the front up there, so he's going to mine, so that way if By-Hero tries to counterattack or to move any units out of his secondary base, he's going to lose them. And I think the secondary base here is going to go down. A nice little escape route there for all the drones. But to be honest, I think Kanata at this point is just very strong. He has upgraded his armor and his attack now for all of his units. Also has the Chiron boosters that Steve mentioned earlier.
And he's taking all these drones.
Yeah, and he's taking out the drones. By-Hero can't move out of his base because there's mines everywhere, so even if he does move out of his base, Kanata's going to know exactly when that happens. Taking a Sai, I think we might see a GG fairly soon here, and I think what Kanata's going to do is he's going to start making tanks. That's exactly it. He's going to make tanks, and then he's going to basically contain By-Hero as best he can and probably try to finish the game out.
Well, I think once By-Hero loses these Hydras, this is going to be GG right here, I would think. Yep. There's GG. He knows he's going to lose it. You know, it's hard to even summarize that game because there were so many poor plays by By-Hero. I don't even know what to point to. I don't even think that expansion, attempted a sneaky expansion was really a good idea even. I mean, there's a closer gas right next to his base. So, it got spotted. There really just wasn't an advantage to putting that expansion out there. Kanata playing a little more aggressively with mech than we usually see. Usually we see kind of a bigger, the mech player waits and goes for a bigger push. He did have a little bit of a problem maneuvering around just because mech is not as maneuverable as Medic Marine. So like you said, he had a hard time taking out that top right. But with just such an solid, huge economic lead, he could pretty much do whatever he wants. He could have sat back in his base like Flash, or he could push out and get aggressive. It really didn't matter. He had such a huge economic lead, and that's what happens when your Mutalisks fail, and you fail to do anything to counter the 14cc. So don't forget, Kanata went 14cc, and By-Hero did nothing about it. He didn't mass expand, really. He didn't try to get super aggressive. He just pretty much took it and said, I'm not adaptable enough. I can't react. I'm just going to stick with my 3-hatch meta build. So we're seeing the difference in players. That's the difference between a player like By-Hero and Jaedong. Jaedong is the master of reacting. All these top-level players, Fantasy, Jaedong. We saw it, Fantasy versus Stork. The player that reacts and is not just stuck in his ways of, I'm just going to sit with, the build I planned. The person that can react is the person who's going to come out on top. So we've seen now out of the 4 top round of 4 players that came in from the previous OSL, which was Fantasy, Bisu, Jaedong, and By-Hero. Bisu and By-Hero were eliminated. So out of the 4, the 2 that are going on is Fantasy and Jaedong. And honestly, this is looking like we could see another Fantasy Jaedong finals.
Right. Yeah, we could see a repeat, which would be pretty awesome to watch. And I think Fantasy has stepped up his game in this tournament overall. I think Fantasy is looking good to where I could see I would think we could see a chance at Fantasy beating Jaedong if that was the chance. Zero is also looking extremely impressive. He was the only person to move on who 3-0'd his group. So Zero is also something to come into play, a very creative player. And with that, I think we're going to just have to wait until the round of 8 starts here, you guys. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching. Please comment. Please let us know how we can improve. And we look forward to seeing you guys in the round of 8 and maybe some MSL stuff. Take it easy.